Dating takes so much time. Finding the right woman to marry, to build a family with, to settle down with, that takes so much time. Well, that's nonsense. In this video, I'm going to show you how to date in a time-efficient manner. We're going to take a look at the concept of opportunity cost and how you're currently wasting an unfathomable amount of time with the wrong people, and how to streamline the dating process. Oh, when I used to work in corporate, how they love that word streamline. But sure, we're going to streamline the dating process so you can find somebody in a way where it doesn't consume your most precious resource, the only resource you'll never get back, which is time. So if we look at dating like a funnel, at the bottom of the funnel, you have an amazing relationship. At the top of the funnel, you have initial contact points. In order to find the right person, you need to have a lot of dates. Not a lot, but you need some volume, right? You need more than you think. If you want a high-quality relationship, if you just want something average, cool, just settle. But you're not the type of man who wants to settle, I assume. So you need a lot of initial contact points. In-person approaches, dating apps, Instagram, social circle referrals. These are basically the main sources. Okay. Then we go on a first date, then we go on a second date, on a third date, and you can see it gets less and less until by the end we come up with one person. So how can we streamline this? Where do we burn time unnecessarily? So first of all, if we look at dating apps, you don't need to be swiping right on a dating app 50 times a day. In fact, most of the time that's going to send a very negative signal to the algorithm. You basically want to behave on a dating app like the most attractive female version or the most attractive user. A lady who's attractive, she won't swipe right 50 times in a row. That just won't happen, because that shows that you have zero standards for yourself. So you want to swipe right maybe 10, 15 times a day. It can be 50 times, 50 swipes total per day, which is pretty fast. Again, you shouldn't be spending more than 15 minutes a day on online dating apps, really, but 10 to 15 right per day. So now that we've created options for ourselves through dating apps, cold messages on Instagram, approaches in person or social circle, we have to disqualify the wrong ones very quickly. One of the biggest time killers for men is that they spend time with the wrong people. How can you avoid spending time with the wrong people? Be more radically honest. Be willing to offend the people who don't have the same values as you, or who have personalities that are not congruent or in alignment with yours. See, the problem is you're trying so hard to please everyone. But the problem is, if you're trying to please everyone, then you have a bit of a relationship with everyone, but no real depth with a couple of particular individuals. If you want the best relationships, you have to be willing to understand stoically that 9 out of 10 people you'll meet, you don't want to have as close people in your life. You can wish them all the best, you can be kind, and you can be courteous, and you can really see them as wonderful human beings, which a lot of them are. Not all, but a lot of them. But you still don't want them as your close male friends or your girlfriend, wife, business partner. It's just not going to work. And if you understand that, okay, 9 out of 10, 19 out of 20, 39 out of 40, whatever the proportions are, then you don't have to be so upset about it when people talk bad about you. When you realize, oh, I've opened myself up, which is something that you have to do, because you're the one who has to open yourself up first. You have to be the one to take that step. They won't do that. And then it turns out, oh, wasn't meant to be. Oh, got a rejection. Oh, personalities aren't compatible. Oh, she's a feminist. Oh, whatever. Oh, okay, no problem. I'll distance myself from that pretty quickly, and I'll just move on. It's fine. Being able to block the wrong women on dating apps, well, I'm sure if you do that, but I mean on WhatsApp or on Instagram or on iMessage, or at least just mentally blocking and moving on, is one of the most important things. Screening for compatibility quickly within the first couple of minutes of the interaction is super important. It's going to make your approaches more effective. It's going to make your dates more effective. And you will find the right woman much sooner. Because I'm sure you've had that in the past where you got stuck on somebody for way too long. Somebody who you're not even that compatible with for months and months. Sometimes years. Maybe you're even divorced. Maybe you've gone through a relationship with a lady where you wasted years of your life. And obviously, it's not useful to look at that time in terms of wasted time. You want to ascribe a positive meaning to it, because chances are you were meeting each other's needs. You were good for each other for a period of time. But now going forward, we really don't want to have that same type of experience again, because intelligence demands that we learn from our mistakes, or ideally from the mistakes of other people. So feel free to disqualify the wrong people quickly. And sometimes you're going to have that within a couple of seconds. Literally, within the opening of the interaction, you might find out, okay, we're really not meant for one another. I've had it once where I was on a date with a lady, and it turns out within 5 to 7 minutes that she was like a real hardcore feminist. And I realized, I believe in equal rights for women, of course, no problem. But this ideology that's been pushed is really not my thing. And so after 7 minutes, we got up, shook hands, and that was it. I'm not going to sit there for an hour and a half pretending to like you when I don't. I can respect you. I can wish you all the best. I can even do you favors. No problem. I can treat you as a human being. That's no issue. But I will not pretend to have romantic interest in you when I really don't. Okay, now you might say, David, but I have romantic interest in her. Maybe, we can spend the night together, have a mutual win-win physical encounter. Fine, I'm not here to judge that. But if you ever heard of post-nut clarity, you'll realize that the second you bust a nut, you'll recognize whether you actually like her or not. And in those moments, when you come, it's kind of nice to actually like that person, to have a sufficient amount of compatibility regarding your values and your personality that you actually want to continue the conversation and not just want to get out of there. So, again, we create options for ourselves. We want to be time efficient with that. 15 minutes a day on online dating, Instagram, and then we want to disqualify the wrong people really quickly through radical honesty. And now, so for most people, again, there's some people who are so religious they don't want to have sex before marriage. That's no problem. That's fine. I'd say it's maybe 5% of my clients. Most, 95% of them, they do have sex before marriage. But it's not just about having sex with as many women as possible. It's really about evaluating intimate compatibility and also fostering enough connection so that she actually wants to see you again. That's really what it is. Sex is just a precursor to a relationship. That's all that is. And then you are dating several women at the same time for a short period of time. That can even just be for a couple of weeks. You're going on dates with several ones. That's what that means. It's not polyamory. It's not polygamy. None of that nonsense, okay? You're going on dates with different women. Trust me, she's doing the exact same thing. If you don't think she's doing the exact same thing, you're lost. You're utterly confused, my friend. So she's doing the same thing. So you're going on dates with different women. You realize, okay, this one I feel naturally way more drawn to. My head agrees, okay, there's an absence of red flags. Emotionally, I feel very drawn to her. And so you just move things forward with her. Now, what's still important here is you only want to make things exclusive after 4 to 12 weeks of non-exclusively dating. Don't really, usually 2 to 3 months, sometimes 4 weeks if you're a bit quick. But I really wouldn't do it beforehand because you're going to rob her of the opportunity to earn you. It sounds very silly, but it's really true. You only value what you invest in as a person. And if you don't give her the chance to invest in you, for example, by simply dating you non-exclusively for at least 4 to 8 weeks, then she will never feel like she earned you. She'll feel like she gave in. And that will shape how she will look at you for the rest of her life. It'll make a big difference. I'm not saying you need to do that for 6 months or some nonsense, but give it 4 to 12 weeks. Very, very important, because in that time, you might actually realize, oh, she isn't right for me. But if you're going on dates with other women at the same time, you can cut the time into a third or a quarter or a fifth of what it might, of finding the right person, of what it might otherwise take. Because if you only go on dates with one person at the same time, that's so stupid. Because then you might do that for 3 months, another one 3 months, another 3 months, and it might take you 2 to 3 years. You can find somebody who's right for you in 3 to 6 months. 3 months, 12 months, 6 months. You can be really efficient with it. Now, again, don't rush it. For some, it's 11 months. For some, it's 1 month. There's a little bit of luck or a little bit of statistical variety involved. No issue. But it's largely determined by the amount of first dates we go on, and then obviously our communication skills in terms of creating and sustaining attraction, because this is something that we have to learn to do, something we teach in detail in our coaching program, by the way. Apply for a free initial consultation call if you'd like me to help you with that personally. So it's super important that you allow yourself the time, the 4 to 8 to 12 weeks, while you're seeing other women. Because, by the way, if you don't do that, you don't even know whether you actually like her or you're just lying to yourself. It's really true. And again, you could make a counter argument and say, too much choice is also a problem. Fair enough. But trust me, you're far from having too much choice. 3 dates in 6 months, 6 dates in 6 months, nothing. You should have at least one new first date a week for 3 to 6 months, 9 months, 2 months. And then you can check out of the dating market. But you have to give yourself that time. And if you're dating several people at the same time, which she is doing as well. Now, it doesn't mean the right type of woman you're looking for is necessarily fucking all of them. That's not necessarily what I'm talking about. But she's evaluating her options, which she should. And if she chooses you and you choose her, that's beautiful overlap. And then you can just enter a relationship. So let's look at this whole idea of opportunity cost one more time. If you spend too much time swiping on dating apps, if you exhibit the wrong behaviors on dating apps, because your profile sucks, by the way, again, let us help you with that personally. If you don't approach, or you approach in the wrong setting, or you're relying on your social circle, or you're sending the wrong messages, if there's friction in the process of lead generation, so to speak, of first date creation, well, that burns time. If you then spend time with the wrong people, that burns time. If you then only see one woman for like 2 to 3 months to figure out you weren't compatible in the first place, that burns time. So if you want to really be efficient, reduce the friction in the process, right? Have a good profile, send the right messages, learn how to approach. Don't just rely on your social circle. Obviously, if you can be introduced by somebody, for sure, why not? Then disqualify the wrong people very, very quickly. Again, not by being disrespectful. You're still super kind and positive, but you communicate your opinion so unashamedly, so unapologetically that the wrong ones will be offended. And then you just go on dates with different women for X amount of months. For some that's going to be 11, for some that's going to be 2. And then you find somebody, and then you communicate boundaries, expectations, needs, and you start a relationship on eye level that can genuinely potentially last a lifetime. If you want me to help you with that personally, as I said, apply for a free initial consultation call, and my team will get in touch.